You poll the public, and it turns out the public can hold conflicting views even within themselves. Part of my job to figure out, okay, where do they actually feel on the overall immigration picture? And I think it's important to note, as we have mentioned, is that Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration is actually positive, which is very much unlike his first term. If you ask, are we on the right track or the wrong track when it comes to immigration policy, the plurality say that we're on the right track, which is very different from where we were just a few months ago under Joe Biden. So, yeah, you see those polling and you see it's conflicting. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of the gun control debate, right? Where you see, oh, my God, 90% background checks. And then, of course, you look at ballot measures in places like Nevada and Maine. And then when it's actually on the ballot, it's basically 50-50. In my opinion, on this particular topic, what we're really talking about and the metric we should be looking to is, do people like, when they ask, do you like what Donald Trump's doing on immigration? And if the plurality says yes, which is what's going on, then that's the number that I think is most representative of the public at large.
I got to tell you, I'm looking at some of the things across the board, and I'll just say, people say, oh, it's there's this thing, there's that thing. I said, guys, it's a fight. We always knew it was going to be a fight. We told you it was going to be a fight. Yeah, we won in November, but just because we won the battle didn't mean the war was over. No, it meant that the war was moving to the next phase. As people say, what about the courts? What about this? The whole guys, did you really think that they were just going to give you your country back, hand you your country back? Never, ever. So, Rich, that being said, let's talk about where President Trump is now in terms of these approval ratings, which, by the way, are pretty high when it comes to President Trump to begin with.
Yeah, I just want to I just want to preface that answer with something. But yeah,
Please.
I mean, they were never going to roll over, Jack. Let me just say that. But I want to preface this, what I'm about to say, with something, which is, and it's stunning to me that we have to go through this every year, after every cycle after cycle. I cannot beat this anymore like a dead horse. Not all polls are created equal, and it is stunning to me that here we are now, a couple of months after the election in April, and we're still looking at the same pollsters who got stuff wrong and giving them the same level of credibility as those who got it right. And if you look at Real Clear Politics right now, what you're going to see is that Trump's approval is underwater by about the average that these pollsters have understated his support. And approval isn't support. It's not, completely equal to vote share, of course. But it is one of our best gauges for whether or not, obviously, the country supports the president. So what I mean by this is, it's a little bit frustrating, from my side of the fence here. It's a little bit frustrating that every election we go through this, and where, people who will support Donald Trump are panicked over the media polls, and then we get to the election, they're wrong dramatically, and there's maybe 3 of us in the entire country, or the entire world, who got the election correct, Jack. And yet, when the election is over, we give them the same weight that we give to the others who got it correct. And we have to stop doing that. Emerging media should stop lending these people that much credibility, because you are the new credible source of news for the generation that's 60 and under. You are that source of news. So when I turn on, and I don't have to name drop anybody here, the people I'm talking about. When I turn on these shows and I see them obsessing over Reuters or Ipsos or this poll or that poll, I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit disappointing. You spend hour after hour, day after day, breaking this stuff down and explaining to people that this industry is filled with incompetence and it's filled with corruption. All right, there's no other way to put it. And whatever is fueling that is irrelevant, discussion for another day, but it's proven. That is demonstrably true. And every election, it continues to prove it, especially in the Trump era, it's gotten worse. So just remember that. There are a couple of us who know how to do this correctly, and there are reasons for that we can get into, but they're not many anymore. And that's sad, but it's true. And I'll also say this, I was concerned about this. I came on your show, we talked about this a lot. The no and low prop voters who supported Donald Trump, first time in my lifetime that the adult or voter eligible population, the VEP, the voting eligible population, was more Republican or more Trumpy in this case specifically than the likely voter population altogether, that was being driven by these people, those low and no prop voters, and they don't take surveys, and they just appeared out of nowhere. The response rates began to decline leading up into the election. We were still all right. We still did okay. But after the election, since his honeymoon ended, these people have begun to phase out of the sample. They go back to their normal life. They're not your 65-year-old neighbor who's obsessing over Fox News or obsessing over CNN, is ready to pick up the poll the minute I call or one of my employees call. That's just not how it works. These guys are gone, and it's a challenge for us. And, if you read the media headlines, you would think that it's gospel, brother. Easter Sunday gospel. It's not.
Wait, Rich,
people need to remember that.
I got to tell you, man, I got a neighbor that's like this. My neighbor, he's...
course you do.
He's just under 60, so he's right in the age range that you're talking about. But I mean, I don't even need to watch CNN and MSNBC, because all I go do is I talk to my neighbor, or I'll be out and I'm walking around, and here he comes, and it's going to be, oh, Jack, COVID was going to kill everyone, and then it was Russia, it was Putin, and Putin was going to kill. We were all done for, but then also Putin was done for at the same time. It was like an interesting thing where where Russia was about to collapse, and also Russia was about to take over all of Europe. Like I remember these conversations vividly, and it was always this weird like I know more than everybody else, and it's like, dude, you just sit and watch TV all day. You're not like some special savant or anything. All you're doing is repeating whatever they said on Morning Joe, whatever Jake Tapper said. But it's like, oh, these people, they don't know what's coming. They don't know what's coming. They need to watch CNN, then they would know. And it's like, do you ever? And I wonder this, Rich. This is more of, I guess, like a epistemological question. But it's like, do they ever actually wonder about the things that they were told were true that never actually came true? I don't know.
That definitely is that type of question, because it's like, what do you think you know? And do you ever look back and review something that you may have thought you did know or you had a good grasp on, and now it is, proven, it never came to fruition, and it's proven to be incorrect. These are the people, honestly, who somehow sympathize with the Palestinians, and Israel is the great big bad, yet they love Vladimir Zelensky. It doesn't make any, it's not intellectually consistent, because they're following along with a social belief system, a social side. Jack, you're not going to find that among like people who are 45 and below, right? And also, they're just dying to tell you everything they think they know. Meanwhile, the next time you land in Vegas or even DC, ask your Palestinian taxi driver, all right? Ask your Hispanic Uber driver or whatever. The next time you guys, run around and go to these, we all travel a lot, and ask them the last time they even bothered taking a poll or speaking to a pollster. I mean, I know it's anecdotal, but the fact of the matter is these people have different behavioral, they're in different behavioral categories.